other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And you know why? Because the night before, at 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
Matthew, where are you? Where did you go?
This is where the story really starts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to We Bought a Mic, a podcast about weapons, the new film from writer-director Zach Cregger, and Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, with another big hit on their hands. We're going to get into this surprisingly popular, groundbreaking film of the late summer. Welcome. My name's Ernest, and I'm joined by Hunter.
Watch out now. What's up?
Drew.
I like this new intro format that we're trying out. I don't have. Hello.
And Brett is back.
What's up?
Welcome.
Yeah, Brett, you've been weaponized.
I am a weapon.
Hashtag weapons in the theater.
We just had you on for Minority Report.
That just happened. So I don't know when these episodes are coming out, but that did just happen.
But we had to have you back for some real cinema. We were talking because we saw Superman and Fantastic Four together. And you were like, man, am I relegated to like the slop movies?
That's right.
You know, the realms. And you wanted to be on for something good.
No, I've always wanted to meet Drew. I'm a big fan of the podcast, and I thought that would be really fun. So I thought, bring me on for something serious. You know, big Whitest Kids You Know fan. This is going to be just like
Are you really?
I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whitest Kids You Know was they were a big deal.
Yeah, really good.
And you saw Barbarian?
I did not see Barbarian.
Oh, you're going to have to.
So this gives me a
Get
really
the fuck out of here.
I have a very fresh perspective on weapons.
Come back. We'll pause. We'll wait. We'll
do
just
like
sit
the
here in
idea-
silence.
Okay, just have like a cut and okay, I just saw.
Oh, okay.
I just saw it.
Yeah, you have lots of thoughts. Nipples. I like the idea though that you only take Brett to see like slot movies, and then when Brett goes to me to see a movie, I'm like, no, we're gonna go see a film. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go take you to go see some real fucking
I couldn't go to the screening with you guys, but I got to see it with the masses.
Yeah, well, we saw it with the masses. Yeah, we saw it opening night.
Well, the whole point was that I could hold.
Oh, we
Hunter's
didn't have
hand.
a screen.
Yeah, we didn't have one.
That's right.
Fucking Warner Brothers. Zaslav.
It is also a very special episode. I got the Prosecco.
Oh.
It is the 8th anniversary of the podcast.
Wow.
Congratulations to all.
Thank you. Thank
Bravo.
you, everybody.
Oh, there we go. Hey, and you know, this works out well because Brett, you were one of the first guests on the pod. So.
Was I? What was I on for? What was the first thing?
I think Phantom Thread.
Oh shit!
So that was like
That's a film, huh?
That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Hey, new PTA coming.
New PTA.
You want to come back again? For
We're
that?
both.
I would love to.
That would be
Just give them everything good.
that would be real old school shit to just have you on again and again, because that's what we used to do when we started the show.
when we had like 2 friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we have like 6.
Now we have like 6 acquaintances.
Congrats, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
8 years.
of these
We should
years we're gonna
probably
get good at
probably
podcasting.
start winding down soon.
Yeah.
Or
No,
I guess
it's like the mining meme.
yeah.
But there's nothing on that other end, man. We're not gonna hit it. We're not finding the diamonds.
If we didn't stop for me having cancer, I don't think anything is stopping this podcast anymore. They'd probably have to take me to Alligator Alcatraz at this point.
I like to think that like this all ends like the end and the mining meme is just like a Squarespace ad deal. Like that's what we're all working towards here.
Yeah. No, what was the ad today at Roller Derby that I said we should have?
Like orthopedics.
There was no orthopedic.
It was stanky sauce.
Stanky sauce.
Stanky sauce. It's a hot
Stanky
sauce.
sauce.
company
If
in
you're
town.
listening, We need
Support
you to
local artists
sponsor,
like us.
WBAM.
It's really disheartening that we've been like lapped by like the MD foodie boys.
I will say we probably
They're having like Lil Yachty on their fucking
Yeah,
podcast.
okay,
Just
yeah.
to be like, oh, you fuck with chicken nuggets.
What do you like on
Yeah.
your pizza?
I do. I love those clips.
Those are we got to
These
do.
four
We got
little
to
fucking idiots.
in the 8th year more clip farming. You know, the yo-yo. Brett, you're more famous than us now just
true.
because of the yo-yo. We go to screenings with this guy. He's like, that people are like, yo, you're the yo-yo guy.
Yeah.
That's right.
the yo-yo guy.
Nobody looks at me and they're like, hey, you're the podcast.
I'm like
guy.
the Adam Sardorius of yo-yo in Central Florida.
The weapons yo-yo video is a hit. Is a massive.
That was a
hit.
fun one.
People love it.
Directed by Hunter.
Nice.
I did try to emulate your style a little bit, but I'm like one of those copycat directors who then gets like more acclaim than who he's copying off
Right.
of. So, you know.
Well,
Get on the We
standing
Bought a
on-
Mic TikTok, guys. Follow it, like it, comment.
At that point, you had seen the film when you recorded that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you weren't just
So when I
going off of the hope of a yo-yo video emulating. Something that worked.
To be fair, I think we did one in front of the Smurfs sign, and
Yeah.
I don't think I saw that.
Right.
Wait, you didn't
What?
see- what? You, wait.
Wait a minute.
Well, I'm not
wait,
sure.
can't
All right,
freaking
pause it really
say
quick.
that.
We're gonna go
And pause.
and we're
Okay, all right.
You're like covered in blue.
You're like, I have good news, guys. Rihanna is Smurfette.
So you said you still haven't seen Barbarian. I'm very curious that because we all saw it. Drew, I think you had it on your top 10 that year.
It's a really great movie, but I wouldn't call. I mean, I genuinely would call it a perfect debut because it shows all the potential in the world while not feeling as fully fleshed out as something like Weapons is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this
It's
feels like a level
like
up.
watching it, you're like, wow, this has like all the kernels of like
Yeah.
like really great direction. And writing for that matter. The writing is, I think, what takes the bigger step up in this movie. But yeah, Cregger is just
So
he's got it going on here.
let's start with you. What do you think about Weapons?
I really it's hard not to be in love with it. Like, generally speaking, I think the biggest takeaway, because it's been swept up in the discourse machine, of course, Cregger is, begging a lot of comparisons. He is the one bringing them up to things like Magnolia. He's saying, Magnolia meets Hereditary. I think in terms of function, that kind of couldn't be farther from the truth. Magnolia is like an unbelievably long and confusing watching experience. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's a banger.
This movie has unbelievable momentum, and it is made. It's made as a theater experience. It's showing in IMAX. It carries an audience without depending on the amount of horror that you probably think it has in it, because it doesn't have that much. It has conventions of horror and it has moments of horror, but really you're kind of just watching a really, really dense story unfold from multiple perspectives. And that is really difficult to do and keep everybody on board and keep things snappy. It's not overlong. It's really concise despite being so dense. You can have layered reads of it. There's subtext there, but you don't have to engage with that in order to enjoy the movie. And I think that's a big difference between this and a lot of other movies that get mentioned in the same breath, like a Hereditary, et cetera, where
A24.
yeah, where the subtext is really pushed up to the forefront. This is a movie that you can just enjoy as an entertainment product, and it really won't let you down. Like I was most impressed by that, I think, of anything.
Hard
it's
agree.
it's so impressive.
Hard agree. Right. What do
Yeah,
you
you don't.
think?
For this movie, talking to different people, like my fiance, for example, you shouldn't be shied away from this movie if you don't like horror. That's not what this movie is about. It's like a mystery box kind of crime thriller.
It's very much a mystery.
I totally agree. This is the kind of movie, if you can go see it in a theater, go see it in a theater. It has an ad campaign that really supports that, right? A really straightforward beginning to this plot that sets, this movie starts off with a situation that is so unbelievable and impossible to explain that everything else in the movie just kind of flows. No matter what else is thrown at you, it's really entertaining to watch. there's scary moments, but it's followed up with tons of levity and unbelievable laughs, which I think we're probably going to get into. And obviously Cregger's comedic sensibilities are coming through. I think there's a little bit of Jordan Peele of it all when it comes to horror and comedy, and how that Venn diagram is very conjoined.
So you mentioned Whitest Kids, you know, so were you bringing any preconceptions of that into this?
It's kind of about a conspiracy, which a lot of Whitest Kids, you know, sketches are about conspiracies.
It is when you go back afterwards. So what happened with me was I went back and I was like, you know, I don't recognize this director's name. I never saw Barbarian, and I'm like looking at him in interviews, and I'm like, I recognize this guy from something. And then it took me a while to realize it was Whitest Kids, you know, because he's not immediately the most identifiable person. And then you start to look back on clips of Whitest Kids, and you see connections. And it all makes total sense for this guy's career. And there's so much happening from a script standpoint and from a direction standpoint. Choices made were not necessarily the first choice that we're seeing on screen, but it still totally works. You don't really have to dig deep into the layers of metaphor and messaging at all. But what's happening in front of you, there's plenty of details you could pick up on, little bits of messages that you can carry with you in the story.
Yeah. So once you guys go ahead, I want to talk about his writing process, because I think it kind of explains it all.
Hunter,
Yeah.
you've seen this movie twice.
I did. I saw this movie. We saw it together opening night, and then I saw it again a second time earlier this week, because a lot of what we're kind of talking about here, I wanted to know if that was kind of the first viewing magic trick. Like, you know, a lot of times with mysteries, with horrors in general, like, they can be incredible the first time that you see them, and it's almost like they are this like sealed in amber thing. And at least for myself, sometimes I'm a little bit scared to go back and watch them again. Like, it took me years to go back to watch Hereditary again, because I had such a perfect viewing experience of seeing it for the first time that I was like, will this still be just as good on a rewatch? And I thought that Weapons would survive this, but I wanted to be sure. This is, for my money, the first movie that's rivaled Sinners this year as the best movie of the year. I think that this movie is kind of like a borderline masterpiece in a lot of ways. There are...
Especially after the second viewing, or you felt like that after the first?
I had a lot of these feelings after the first viewing, to be honest, but I wanted to see this again to see how things, how I sat with them over time, kind of thinking about some of the ideas. But I think, to your point, Drew, like, not even just the ideas, but just the general plot points and how it made me feel. And that part specifically, the how it made me feel, was pretty much confirmed completely by the second viewing, because it is just as funny. Some of the scary scenes are just as scary, and like, there are some genuine, like, really, really effective jump scares that happen in this movie. And I just think, like, for my money, this is exactly like what you want from a movie like this, that has a level of it's not just like a slasher dumb horror movie. It has a lot of other things going to it, but I think more so to its credit, I do think that this is still fall in the genre of horror. And maybe one of the reasons why it feels so refreshing is that horror in the modern day and age, it's something that I preach about all the time in this podcast, is just like, hey, did you know that this movie is actually a metaphor for trauma? And it becomes so tired, and I don't care. And I think one of my breaking points, honestly, with that was a movie earlier this year, The Woman in the Yard. The Woman on the Lawn. I can't.
The Lady in the Lawn.
Don't ask me.
What's it called?
The Woman in the Yard.
The Woman in the Yard. I just keep calling it The Lady
in the Lawn.
Because, and that's like a movie where, again, it's the subtext is the actual text. I haven't seen this movie yet, so I don't want to like speak to its
I thought you
quality.
did see it.
No, I did see it. No, but I saw The Woman in the Yard.
This is just a segue into our new sponsor, Lady in the Lawn.
Lady in the Lawn
Services.
I know this other movie I have not seen yet, but like a movie like Together, which is out where it's like, I wonder if this movie's a metaphor for anything. Like, this movie is just like more focused on, hey, what if we just gave you like a good, fun, enjoyable movie that you can put the pieces together, you can read into it, you can not read into it. It doesn't matter. You're going to have a blast with it either way.
Well, there was another horror movie that came out this year. I mentioned briefly on an episode, Bring Her Back from A24, that I will definitely touch on in spoilers, because I think in specific plot points, it actually lines up pretty close to Weapons, and it's a perfect example of what you're talking about how it just Bring Her Back focuses so much more on being heavy-handed with the theme, and that's become almost like a crutch in a lot of ways of the genre. And we've been getting a lot of really great horror. I mean, just look at Sinners, right? And I think Sinners is another interesting comp in terms of like, you know, you can kind of say that Sinners is more of a thriller and an action movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's
before you get to horror.
It has zero. Yeah, it has borderline zero horror until the end.
Right. I pretty much agree with everything you guys have said. I really want to watch it a second time because I am leaning more closely to masterpiece territory. I have quibbles that we'll touch on in spoilers, but after one viewing and sitting on it for a week or so and listening to reviews and analyses and stuff, it's sitting really well. I think it's a lock for top 10 of the year. And as a follow-up to Barbarian, like you were saying, it does feel like a level up in pretty much every way. Like the building blocks were there, the pieces were set, and he is just showing us what he can do with these tools in such an exciting way. I've heard comparisons to something like Us as well, you know, follow to Get Out. You know, there's a lot of comparisons that you can make.
This is better than Us.
With this movie.
Agree. Yeah.
I love Us. I had a great time with that movie. Another movie that also has that dichotomy of you can enjoy it on the surface, but also has this deeper meaning. I think Weapons does a much better job at just being the surface
and it's
version of itself.
And you can have the depth too, but it's just a very tightly packaged movie. I think that's something that it has over Us, which you know, that movie is exploding with ideas, very interesting ideas. But I think the same thing sort of happens in Sinners, where at the end of the movie, it feels like they just have a bunch of leftover sauce. And so they just kind of like throw it all over the end of the movie. They're like, okay, let me explain this to you and tell you about this. And like,
yeah,
you know,
Us
really
does
lay
have
it
the
out.
monologue of like, here's what this movie is about. Here's the message that you should take home with
There's
you.
a worse version of Weapons that has the monologue like explainer at the end, and this doesn't really have
What's
that.
crazy is it does have a narrator in the beginning and end of the movie, and it's not overstaying its welcome at all, especially at the end. It ends on like a pretty like melancholic note. It doesn't end on a very definitive line.
Well, I think it kind of does.
The
the very last line.
I think so too, and I think that line is like maybe one of the best arguments for the deeper metaphor.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
We just got to get to spoilers, but the point with that is that I've been looking at a lot of interviews with Cregger. And he's been and he's been very careful about what he says when it comes to what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Because he needs to sell the movie, right? The movie's doing numbers at the box office.
Yeah, it's best for him to call it apolitical.
Yeah, it's a modest hit.
I just want to say to you, I've got your subliminal messages, Zach, and I will be at the middle school tomorrow.
Yeah, you saw that cloud and you're like, all right.
There's a reason why this movie is called Weapons. And the movie it's never overbearing with the ideas that it has on its mind. But once you get to the end of it, it's undeniable that it has ideas on its mind. Like you can just enjoy it on the surface, but we're going to get into like all the deeper things because you can't ignore them. I mean, he is telling you in the press cycle, like that's not the point of the movie.
No,
but when you watch the movie, it's definitely the point of the movie.
Yeah, I'd say, it's just so much less feeding it to you than most of what we get. Right. I would almost compare it to something a little bit more like Enemy, where like I'd say the majority of people who watch that were probably like, what the fuck is that spider? You know what I mean? They just take it as a scary thing.
Yeah.
And you can absolutely do that. But yeah, let's get into spoilers.
We like the movie. It's a big recommend.
I did want to just say one last thing because I've heard a lot of people, including like friends of ours, say like this movie is like going to be a transition for Cregger out of the horror genre entirely.
He already has Resident Evil lined up.
I actually kind of disagree with that because I think that this movie, one of the things that makes a movie like this so exciting is because as we're going to talk about all of the individual aspects of it that we like, this is not a movie that feels like a director like blowing his whole load. Like he has used up every idea that he has. It reminds me a lot of watching like Midsommar and Hereditary, like going to another horror filmmaker of our time, Ari Aster, where it's like, this guy's got a lot of fucking tools in his tool belt. Like he is just kind of getting started.
I'm so glad you said that.
This is the way up. This is not the apex.
Because Beau's Afraid is a masterpiece. I'm so glad you said that, Hunter.
Let's go.
That you agree.
Let's fucking go.
Sure.
Let's fucking go. It sure is.
So you're saying,
and you can come on for any movie you want.
you're saying this is his Midsommar and his Beau is coming.
You know what?
Yeah, his Beau is coming.
Beau is coming. Yeah.
Well, spoilers for Beau. Brett, I think that you have a residency. Anytime
Speaking of
there's
weapons,
a cock
Beau's
monster of any kind on a movie that we cover on this podcast, you can come on for it.
But
Cool.
well, to your point, and again, this isn't spoiling yet, but Zach is a great interview. Come on the pod, buddy. You know what I mean? We're listening. We're keyed in with you. He's a great interview, very unpretentious about his process, and he is very willing to explain, like, it's a lot like Ari Aster. He's like, I have like a bunch of these scripts just sitting around. Like I wrote this one before I wrote the other one, actually. He wrote this before Barbarian or whatever. Or
Crazy.
like during Barbarian.
While he was
while shooting Barbarian, but he has other scripts that he wants to make that are from before all that. Like he's got these sitting around.
Yeah.
So I'm excited
Keep
for his
them
future.
coming, man. I mean, how exciting is it to see a movie like this that works this well, that feels this fresh, this original, and, kind of feels effortless in a way? Like there's a quality about this movie, the way the camera sort of glides through scenes, the way the score just perfectly melds in with the tone, whether
it's all
funny,
dialed.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I wrote down first was like, he is dialed into like what he's doing.
right.
He knows his like lane.
Yeah.
In a way that like you'd think he was 20 years into this.
Yeah.
All right. So if you haven't seen it, this is your last chance to get out if you care about spoilers. If you don't care, listen on. We're going to talk about the movie. We got to devote the bulk of the podcast to actually, for real, getting into it. So we can't really reveal much past this. So this is your chance to get out and come back. Let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so we're actually going to pause really quick. I'm going to go watch it.
And back. Okay.
And you're like, I hated it.
Jeez, that was bad.
Actually, I think the showing was actually for Freakier Friday.
Yeah.
So how was that?
We come back and you're again. You're like, I saw Smurfs again.
Lindsay Lohan in Weapons was an interesting choice.
When I went to see this, there were so many fucking people at the movie theater. It was packed. I was like, what are you people watching?
It was Weapons, it turned out, because it wasn't fucking Freakier Friday.
You're like, get out of here.
Superman again?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think the best way to get into a spoiler discussion is to talk about his writing process.
Go for it.
Because it's really interesting to me. Like I said, it's
What a cool idea for a movie.
exactly, and that is all that he started with. It's something that like the greatest, I'd say auteurs of our time have in common when they don't have to write things that are based on something else, is they are able to they sit down and they start writing and they don't overthink and they let whatever comes come. He's talked about how he's super into like transcendental meditation, like which is David Lynch's thing, of just letting, not overdoing it with like the planning sheets and everything that you learn in film school, while having that knowledge in your head, letting things flow. And then the key part is, because he's also the director, he can back that vision, like whatever might feel vague on the page, he can bring it to life like as effectively as possible, because he's a really effective director.
Yeah.
Like he directs the fuck out of the movie. It looks incredible.
I would love to read this script, because I feel like in reading it, he probably wrote it just knowing every beat, every shot, every camera move.
Well, he said in an interview, because he didn't go in with a plan of what would happen, but he does say as he's writing, he does see the shot.
Yeah, you can tell. You can
Yeah.
tell there's so many moments in this movie where it feels like he knows exactly how it's going to play out. Like there's so many sequences in this movie. I'm thinking specifically of when we're in the convenience store chasing around Wong going beast mode. Like the way the camera is moving around it just feels like there was no other way to shoot that. Like that was the only possible way to convey that.
That's
feeling
the effortless thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel strained. It feels like it was all just conceived by the same person who knows what he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think that the other thing that this movie has going for it, and I mean this in a positive, as I'm going to kind of circle the square on this a little bit, but for those of you who don't know kind of the origin of this movie was Zach needed something to just kind of get his mind off of the death of one of his best friends, Trevor Moore, also from The Whitest Kids You Know.
The main guy.
Yeah, who died in 2021. And it was like one of his best friends, and he just needed something to basically distract himself. And so he's talked about like, hey, whenever I like need to just like have my mind off of things, I just write. And that's why he just has all of these different scripts and ideas. And so in a lot of ways, the complexity of this movie almost makes sense more as a writing exercise where you try to write yourself into a corner so that you can write yourself out of it. And like this is not a first draft. Obviously he went through like over and over again and added in a lot of these specifics where he's doing the thing where he is visualizing how the story is going to be told. But I think that the wider narrative of it all, how it has this Altman PTA like sprawling cast that we're kind of jumping around in, makes sense as like it's something you would read more in a novel than you would see in a movie.
Yeah, it's to have a premise that is so strong that like they sell the movie on this premise because it's so good.
And the premise, by the way,
let's hear it.
The only thing that I knew about this movie was the premise, and then it's a voiceover.
It's blown in the first minute of the movie. That is the boldest. This is what I'm talking about. Where like this is a guy that was just writing. Like to come up with an idea like that and be like, okay, so I need to reveal that in like probably the 15th minute, and then you know what I mean. He's like, no, actually, I'm gonna start with a little kid who we never meet, explaining the interesting premise that happened a month ago.
Yeah.
Like there's no school that would tell you that's the good idea.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to have faith in your own ability to bring the story together. And then, like you said, he is obviously going back over this because the way that the movie then meets out information piece by piece is what keeps you on board the whole time. Like every single time we switch perspectives, we get just enough information that we feel like we're on the right track.
That's the magic of this movie, I think. It's the structure of the movie, but that starts in the writing process where he's decided exactly what information he's going to be giving the audience. And then he doles that out in a very specific nonlinear way, which if you can effectively tell a nonlinear story on screen, it is so incredibly exciting. And the information is broken up in just the perfect way. I don't know if there's some phrase or what it's called where you see that title card on the screen of somebody's name and you have this feeling of I am about to get some juicy information and you get this huge serotonin boost.
Yeah, those moments in the theater, like people are like, oh, fuck. Whenever they see a new name, they're like, oh, shit.
Apparently at the premiere, people cheered at each title card, which is awesome. But to the comparison with Barbarian, Barbarian is a movie, not to spoil it for you, because it's a cool ride of a movie. You don't want to know that much going into it. But that is a movie that takes a fucking turn.
Yeah, it has one huge... I mean, multiple, but like there's a moment in the movie where you're like, wait,
yeah, it's
what?
an insane like cut to an entirely different story.
Yeah.
And that feeling of that moment was something that's was very present with my experience of watching Weapons because of those title cards. And also I knew that it was gonna be this Magnolia like kaleidoscopic story. You know, that's something that was revealed in the run up to the movie. A couple things that we haven't mentioned yet. This movie is about a group of kids in a classroom that disappear in the middle of the night at 2:17 a.m. And the marketing for the movie, and I'm going to read from Letterboxd here, because Letterboxd, they do a thing where at the top underneath the title of the movie, they put the tagline and then they put the plot synopsis. And the tagline is almost always pulled from posters, trailers, that kind of thing, from the marketing. Here's what they put for the tagline. Last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Mrs. Gandy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and they never came back. Here's the plot synopsis. When all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. The marketing never tells you that one boy didn't disappear. Hell fucking yes. Lie to me. Lie to me in the marketing.
Yeah.
Let me be surprised. Let me go in. I have shed the part of myself that avoids trailers. I watch every trailer. Every give me all the trailers. I consume all of it. So it's harder and harder for me to be surprised going into a movie. Just lie. Like, that is a lie.
Yeah.
And it's great because when that opening hits and you see the little boy again, the camera, the way it's shot, where you're following Julia Garner walking into the classroom and her body is blocking the kid.
Yeah, man.
That's great.
Until the camera is ready to reveal the one kid. That's when you see him sitting there by himself. Fucking yes.
Yeah.
Fucking yes.
There's
as
a confidence.
As soon as that happened, I was like, let's fucking go.
This is
Let's go.
it's a game of information.
Yeah.
If you go and you see that kid and you're like, I have so many questions for this kid.
Yeah, and also I mean, at least me, I'm thinking, because this disembodied child that we never actually meet is voiceovering, and I'm like, wow, we're burning through the entire cell of the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously the mystery hasn't been solved, so there's plenty to talk about, but like, that is just a shocking way to go about this idea. And then, at every single turn, if it's not, sort of explained to you, even though Cregger is explaining this to people, that it's a Magnolia type thing, that we're going to be jumping around, there's no reason for you to think that we will be, because we start by following the natural character you would follow, the teacher.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, the trick, you can call it a trick. I've seen people call it cheap, which I disagree with, because like it generally comes down to if it's effective and like if it has efficacy within the story, which it does. It works for this particular story. So it's not a trick, but it works over and over because like in the first place, you're like the story doesn't necessitate jumping. It feels like he's almost just like, if you're thinking about writing a screenplay, that just makes it harder.
Yeah.
But it makes it so much more entertaining.
Yeah.
I also think like, the comps to Magnolia, like I hate to like
There's a
be an
there's a
asshole.
cop with a mustache.
Well, no. I didn't even want to say that. I hate to be an asshole, but like every fucking up and coming filmmaker loves to say at their movie that has like that's more than a two-hander is a Magnolia because it has a cast of multiple people in it. That Magnolia isn't chapterized like this movie.
No.
Magnolia, you are jumping back and forth between characters, even during like key pivotal moments.
Oh yeah, that's the
There's-
trick of Magnolia. Is it's almost like the
Things
climax of
rise-
Inception, where it's just like quick cutting between the stories as they're escalating.
Yeah, there's and that is like kind of the magic of Magnolia is the rise and fall together. This is a movie that climaxes and then we cut away and now we have to start, and it's like that slow build up, and then
It's called edging.
You literally are edged out of whatever the climax is going to be of that scene. We cut to black and then we're going to start over with a different character.
And then at the end, we goon.
Yeah.
I did struggle a
Isn't
little
gooning
bit.
and edging the same thing? I'm sorry. Can I ask
Hunter-
this question?
Hunter,
Edging is one technique of many you could use.
Okay.
While gooning.
Okay.
Jesus.
And like you don't climax though. You just like go to a different.
This is
form
like
of it.
clearly a conversation we've had before. Hunter, not right now.
Sorry, I just need to get this on the record. I just need to know.
I did struggle with that right at the end, right before the climax, when we finally get to little what's his name?
To Alex.
Yeah. So the movie starts with Julia with
Julia
what
Garner,
is-
who I wasn't familiar with.
Justine.
Justine.
She gets the longest chapter, I believe. And so every time we cut to a different character, the length of time that we spend with that character is shorter than the previous.
because we need less filled in.
Yeah. By the time we get to Alex, everything is converging. We know that house is where it's going down. And so the movie has to then give you his story in a much longer amount of time that you've been used to, because the chapters have been getting shorter. So somewhere in the middle of Alex's chapter, as he's like, you know, doing his
having
best,
to feed them soup. And
yeah. I did struggle a little bit, and I did have that feeling that I never feel in movies, rarely, of like checking the time. And I didn't check it, but I had
You
the
looked
feeling.
above the theater screen and you saw an assault
I-
rifle that said 217.
But you know, there was a moment where I was like, I was so kind of like jerked around with the sort of arrangement of chapters and the amount of time devoted to each character that I felt like, okay, we've been with this chapter for a while. I'm starting to feel a little restless here. Like, let's get on with it.
I can see that.
And that's sort of like is the biggest gripe I had against structuring the movie this way, but it's worth it because of James. And when we get to James, the heroin addict, when we get his perspective,
that kid rocks.
it's
Austin Abrams.
This is the
My
feeling.
God, he's funny.
This is the feeling I get when I'm sitting there watching this section of the movie, is why I love movies, because I had no idea what was going to happen next. And every beat of this section, it's the section that is removed the most from the core theme of the story, but it advances the plot the most because we find out what happened to the kids. I was levitating.
Yeah.
I was levitating during James.
So this is one thing that I wanted to get to in the pre-spoiler discussion, but I want to talk about now, that whenever I'm talking about like this guy in Cregger is proving that like he's kind of just getting started, the fact that each character in this, and I'm really interested to like watch this even more times, especially watching this from home, to kind of clock not only what you're talking about as far as the time that you're getting here, but the different filmmaking techniques that are used with each character that we are following.
It's almost like the after party.
No, well, I mean specifically,
It's obviously not far, not even close to that severe, but like the genre shifts a little bit.
Different
it
music.
literally it becomes After Hours. It becomes Uncut Gems when we are with James, where it is so frenetic to a point that's like it stresses you the fuck out, because like we at this point we know that there's some horrific shit that is happening, and you only get the separation because Justine, her timeline has like some horror jumpiness. Then we get the Josh Brolin Archer. We get that bit that has some horrorness, and then we go to our boy Alden Ehrenreich as the dopey piece of shit cop, ACAB, and. Like we're with him for just long enough that
putting
like,
his life on the line.
Well, it is a little bit of a thing where it's like, I don't know, like some shit's probably gonna go bad with this guy James, but like you can kind of tell the moment that gets him, the camera goes a lot more handheld. Yeah. We go a lot more like either over the shoulder or just like direct handheld with him as he's walking. I'm thinking of specifically or the crane shot as he's checking all of the cars.
It's good time. You're right about Uncut Gems.
It's got exactly all of these like bits to it where it completely changes the stylization, but it gets back to the point by the end whenever we end up at the house, because at that point things kind of slow down a bit for the first time in this little chapter of the movie that we've gotten to. We get back to like kind of where we started. It's masterful. Like it really is something that in the wrong hands, it feels jarring. It feels out of place. I think a huge credit goes to Cregger. A huge credit goes to Austin Abrams, because I want to hang out with this guy. This guy, for if you haven't been on this part of the internet, he's like the new internet hottie. Crackheads are in, ladies and gentlemen.
So he's in Euphoria, yeah. He's
great in Euphoria.
He's going to be like the solo star of Resident Evil for Cregger. Yeah. And this was like sort of Cregger's sell of Resident Evil. He's like, hey, listen, it's not going to be IPE. It's just going to be me getting to fuck around with Austin Abrams.
Also, I think I've read that Austin Abrams was the first person cast in this movie.
He was the only person from the original cast that actually got to be in it.
He was just like, I need this guy in this movie.
I think it was Pedro's fault. Because Pedro Pascal was too busy.
Right.
So, just to your guys' point here, and I think I want to say I love this movie so much, but ultimately you hit on what I think is the big issue with this movie, is the story structure is nonlinear. It's like overlapping scales. right? Where you get to a certain point in the plot, then it takes you back a little bit to pole vault you forward.
Yeah.
You get to the end of the movie. Everything before this, everything before Alex is very clear about how it wants you to feel. This moment is scary. This moment is sad. This moment is funny. It tells you exactly how it wants you to feel. It's so wildly entertaining. But that sequence with Alex is not very scary. It's definitely not funny. And it's not played out to be as sad as it could be of him like feeding his parents food. It's incredibly sad. You're not hit with a bunch of sad music, right? It doesn't shift the tone that much.
It's just a bummer.
But it becomes a little bit emotionally stagnant for too long.
Yeah.
I think that's where the movie struggles.
It could have just been like, we could have gotten to the point a little bit quicker.
Yeah, you have like going back to the crack addict, like his moment. What the movie's doing so well is the first time you see him breaking and entering, he falls down, he slams on the dumpster. There's a big noise, and then the chase scene starts. When it happens the second time around from his point of view, that slam kicks off music, and it has like a completely different energy to it, and that's what kicks off like this good time Uncut Gems.
I think you make a really good point though, because I think Cregger is probably counting on the fact that we are finally getting the meat of what we want to know, as like enough to sort of carry you through.
It's a mystery.
But we've had so much momentum and style that I think you're right. It kind of slows down in order to do that. And it just feels like the most traditional part of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like a little bit more straightforward of a movie. Generally speaking, just to back up a bit, it's sort of a column A, column B thing, but like an ensemble film like this cannot work unless the whole ensemble is working, and they all are. Like,
do you have a favorite?
Well,
do you have any other standouts?
In terms of twists and turns, again, column A, column B. On Cregger's side, I love the idea of, again, if we're just going in expecting traditional movie,
Brolin.
We're surprised immediately. Then we're following Julia Garner. The first really interesting piece to me that clued me in that this wouldn't be a normal movie is that she's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I had this written down to talk about.
Yeah, like you think this
everybody kind of sucks.
You
in
think
this
it's going to
movie.
be the sympathetic, scared teacher who's getting unfairly blamed, and then like within like 10 minutes she sucks.
Well, is she a bad person but a good teacher?
I think she's just
or is she a bad teacher?
She's just a complicated person.
But is she a bad teacher?
I think that she's probably like she's a younger teacher, so she like has like warts to her, but like I think that at the end of the day we all don't we all
because
I think that it's a person.
Is that gooning or is that edgy?
I think that she's a person where at the end of the day, I don't know if she like how she is at like educating her students, but I think that she is someone who cares about the well-being of her students. And that's like the bare minimum of
there
being
is
a teacher.
one scene where I feel like and I don't know if this is intentional on Cregger's part, but you see how she is a good person, but she's a bad teacher.
Yeah.
She is trying to connect with Alex because he is like alone. But she doesn't notice that he took all the signs off the cubbies.
I know.
If you're a good teacher, you look at that, you have that memory.
Well, she's like fucking hungover. Like she's like she's a fucking drinker. That leads into so that's like a great little choice of just like, oh, okay, so this is not our sympathetic lead. We're gonna be following someone who sucks. Actually, no, we're not. We're gonna be following a lot of people who suck.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
Except for hot dog boy
Benedict Wong
King.
Well, his man.
So
Benedict Wong's a good guy. He seems like a pretty upstanding principal.
So her ex-man's is Alden Ehrenreich, who his obviously, I mean, his
are they exes or are
unfortunately
they just
his
hookup buddies?
His career is sort of defined by having to play Harrison Ford, and it's really unfair. I haven't seen Hail
Solo. Yeah.
I haven't seen Hail Caesar, but obviously, if the Coens are about as good at casting comedy as you can possibly get on Earth. He blew me away in a movie you wouldn't think, Cocaine Bear, which is horrible.
Never gonna see it.
It's such an unbelievably like shallow, flat, bad movie, and he's funny.
Can I just tell you,
he's really good in it.
A Cocaine Bear is like one of the high. I think it's that and like Landman for the most like normie dudes that in my life been like, dude, you like fucking movies, you gotta watch Cocaine Bear.
It's so awful.
And
there are great actors in that movie that are struggling with the material, and he's not. He gets laughs laughs that are like not there.
So I just
So,
tried to type in.
I was thrilled to see him.
I just tried to type in Alden Ehrenreich into Google and I misspelled it. And it said, "Did you mean Allen Wrench?"
How badly?
Here are results.
How-
Here are
how
results
did
for
you
Allen
spell?
Wrench.
That gives me existential dread. Well, he deserves so much credit here. One of the more understated parts of this movie is like, yes, we're in the points of view of characters, but you don't feel like what we're seeing is really colored by their points of view, except for him.
Yeah.
So during Justine's section of the movie, he looks like a really great guy at the beginning. Like he's checking in on her. The things he's saying all the right things. Like he ends up sleeping with
scene?
the first bar scene. He seems like a good guy, right? Yeah, he goes and sleeps with her, whatever. He seems like a good guy. And then by the time we get to his point of view, like, terrible fucker. And he plays it so well.
Well, he's
The
good
finger,
good
the
fucker. but-
seating the finger is a little bit, again, that little throwaway genius screenwriting, directing, like everything that Cregger is doing to make all these storylines connect with each other. You don't think for a second that finger is a setup for a payoff. It's just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, sure, it's just a character trait.
Chekhov's finger bandage.
It's the same thing where I think there's more of that than what we probably caught watching it. Right, we're gonna need to watch it more later. But the teacher early on in the movie is wearing a stop bullying button as she's getting followed out of the school by the angry parents.
Yeah,
and you're thinking like, yeah, that makes sense, but also it means she doesn't want to get bullied herself. She's just the innocent teacher. But it comes, full circle later in the movie when we see that Alex is being bullied by his classmates.
by Josh Brolin's kid.
Yeah.
That
You
was
just-
a great little
Let me tell you,
reveal.
Great casting.
good casting on that.
Great
Kid,
casting.
let me tell you, I look at that kid and I would say, like, that kid's definitely a piece of shit. I can tell.
And he's definitely Josh Brolin's.
Yeah,
like,
I've
piece of
definitely
shit
gotten
son.
like kicked in the ass in my backpack while walking by that kid before.
You were friends with that kid.
You were laughing behind.
I
him.
actually like related a lot to Alex in this movie. As somebody who also has a weird aunt who came and stayed with me
Gladys.
for a while.
All right, it's time to talk about Gladys.
I really want to talk about Amy Madigan.
How many WBAMs can we submit
Well, okay, no.
for
here's-
Gladys?
Again, going to your point about the marketing of this movie, and
She's in the
avoided-
trailers.
Well, I avoided all of the marketing of this movie, but even leading up to it, the press that
Yeah,
has
she's
had a lot
on-
of cast
She's on
and
Twitter.
stuff like that.
She's everywhere.
She
She's Slay. She's
was
Queen.
she was not really in a lot of like the actual cast as like who she actually represents in this movie. So
Well, the trailers never revealed that was a plot
That that's
point
a
at all.
character,
You
yeah.
just see an image
Can
of
we-
that person.
Yeah, can we, before we get too deep into her, I want to talk about what we see of her before she's actually on screen.
It
So
takes
you
a
have-
long
you
time.
have Justine has a nightmare sequence.
Yes.
Where
So
she sees
it pulls that bullshit.
a child,
for better or
with-
worse.
she sees Alex with the Amy Madigan makeup, and then actually sees herself on the ceiling.
Yeah,
And
so
then
that's
Brolin's
big,
dream.
big jump scare. Then you have Brolin has a nightmare, sees her face as well very quickly. You're kind of thinking like, okay, is every character going to have a nightmare where they see something and it doesn't really take that route? The crack addict does see this clown person in the distance.
Oh, the woods.
Yeah.
the woods.
That was so good. Yes.
So you have this setup of like, oh, these main characters are seeing this ultimate villain of the story. How is this possible that they could do this? And I'm gonna get into this more in a little bit, but the magic of it all. We have a system of magic in this movie.
Yes, and it's not like spoon fed to you. You just see enough to know.
This is expert work.
Yes.
So
Let me
a
tell
lot
you,
of
I actually
movies-
wanted to talk with you about this because Brett, you were like kind of the I know a thing about you is like you want, if you're going to introduce a world, you want to have
Rules.
defined rules.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I couldn't possibly hold my edge when this is executed so well. So
She broke that stick and it was over.
I am
And you broke your stick.
I'm a freak for magic. I'm wearing like a fucking Magic the Gathering shirt right now. I'm also a process engineer
Hell yeah.
in my spare time. It's my job.
In your spare time.
So many movies fall flat when they go too heavy into magic. If you talk about Midsummer goes into the occult, really there's no actual occult happening. It's their inbred cousin who's writing all of their histories. Hereditary is a little bit magic-y,
But it's
maybe.
like Hereditary is explained just like with words. You know what I mean? At
Yes.
the end of
Yeah.
it, they're like, "Oh, this is payment." The blah blah blah.
And
Like,
here's a book about what's going on.
This movie just shows you just enough. Like
you are given exactly the rules of this magic system, exactly how it works. There's 5 steps to unlocking your weapon, right? You follow these steps to the point where at the end of the movie, a child is able to execute
Yeah.
on this. And
He's
do
been
it.
watching.
Exactly. He's been watching it. It is, yeah, you're right. Like it's so satisfying when even strong writers like Ari Aster, like I felt a little bit fumbled that like it's just straightforwardly told to you like, oh yeah, Payman, he's been in our family line. There's like 99 out of 100 versions of this script render it that way, where they're like, oh yeah, for generations we have had this gift.
Yeah.
Like none of that.
Well,
It's like you're watching her cook. You know what I mean? It's shot like that. You're just watching her, like you said, go step by step through the process, and you're like, okay, straightforwardly, she's a witch.
This is
I get it. I get just enough. I don't have any other
and
questions.
it's like the
I don't
old,
have any questions.
It's the old style like Hansel and Gretel take on a witch. It's not even like the elevated Eggers.
She's brewing a
Yeah.
potion.
Yeah.
She's literally, yeah.
So for the audience that hasn't seen this before, we'll get more into this character, but this process that she has is she has this thorny little bonsai tree where she can take a branch, wrap someone's DNA around it or keepsake, like a piece of hair, put her blood on it, and she can ring a little bell that pacifies the person. And as soon as she breaks it, it causes one of those people to become a weapon
Yeah.
and go basically murder someone.
whoever's belonging is in this stick. Like
Right.
it is so well it's well thought out in how unthought out it is. Like we don't need to know everything surrounding that. This is all we need, because I think this also happens a lot when there's a big horror crossover hit that's like also a good film. There's a certain genre of like hater who, and this happens with this happened with Hereditary. I had multiple people like in my life saying like, I just kind of can't believe that like at the end it's like it just like is about like that is what's driving it. It's like
It's a movie.
Well, and it's also like these are people who like horror. These are the core tenets of horror, is that you know what I mean? The supernatural elements come into it and are true.
Yeah.
You have to be able to suspend your disbelief to that extent. And this movie does it in such a grounded way where we're in the modern world, but it's not so hyper modern that I don't know. It just felt picture perfect, and like I couldn't see bumping up against that in any way. It's just so smooth.
I think it's because it's a little bit of to go back to like how modern horror has or I don't even say modern horror, but whenever you're getting like something that is a modern horror movie for audiences, like people either want just the imagery. I'm thinking of going back to a movie like Us, that's just like the scissors. It's that, and like we don't really need to worry about the mechanics of this. It's like, yeah, it's vaguely about like hands across America, whatever. That doesn't really matter. We'll put that over there. Or
Put it at the end.
The other movie that honestly this movie has been getting a lot of comps to because of being the big, buzzy, it's going to break $100 million horror movie hit of the summer is Longlegs, which I think overstates itself. That is my one biggest thing. Longlegs is a movie that made my top 10 last
Longlegs
year.
pissed me off.
But that is a movie that has the third act voiceover of the once upon a time, like child talking. And I hate that scene. I really want to make a cut of the movie that just removes that entire scene from it because I think that it makes it a better movie.
Oh yeah,
And
because that movie in particular is
that's
moving.
like-
It's moving very slowly and vaguely the whole time, and then at the end they're like, "This is what just happened."
Hey, so we're going to tell you what
Okay,
happened.
thanks.
This is a movie that we don't have to explain the rules of it because we can see it's all visually depicted. To go back to like the most like base tenet of the show me don't tell me, like that's it right there. I see it. I know enough about how the rules work. Maybe there are other things because like obviously she makes more of a potion whenever she's hijacking like 20 kids to come to her class. She has to like cut them up and like light something on fire. There's more happening there. That doesn't really matter. I've learned enough through seeing the other tricks of the trade that I know that you have thorny branch, you have water, you have blood, you're good. Like you can
Now,
make everything else work from there.
She's well set up as a character to succeed, but this is a hard acting assignment. Like it's really really hard for Madigan.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best performances of the year.
Man, because
full stop.
so much hinges on her. And it's not just a straightforward like horror character. She's a very dynamic personality.
She has to be inviting.
Yeah,
like you have to buy that this gay couple is gonna want to invite
that
her.
one of them is gonna let her in.
The kinder.
She has to be a good communicator because the way that she looks is terrifying.
Yeah.
She's super off-putting, so she has to
the
have
smeared lipstick.
Yeah, so she has to have at least the ability to convince people of base level things. and then, you know, she has to have the ability to sort of turn that off and be dead behind the eyes when she's talking to the kid. Like there are so many like levels of giving energy that she is giving off. You know what I mean? She has a lot of different gears she has to hit in the performance, and I found it super affecting. She knows exactly how cartoonish to be and when to not be. A lot of that directly correlates with her makeup and lack thereof. Like I said, he's setting her up to succeed in that part, but it's fucking tough.
It's almost like a separate movie where that ending point is like a fairy tale. Like you mentioned Hansel and Gretel, I think is really great, but the whole conceit of what she's doing, which I think is really fantastic because of how understated it is, like her ability to talk to the kid is really incredible. And the impression that I got is this is a witch, right? This is a literal witch, but she has real human people cancer.
Yeah.
And says, what can I do about this?
Yeah.
It is killing her. And she says, what can I do in my witch ability
to not die?
Even if she wasn't a massive villain 50 years ago, now she is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's almost like a thing like she's not like the impresario witch. Like she doesn't know how to save herself. She's like, I thought I'd just like maybe hijack a couple people's brains. That would make me feel better. That didn't help. Let's try like 20 kids. Let's see if that makes me feel better. That's not really doing anything. Like she is kind of winging it, but she's like, this is my only skill that I know how to do. Maybe if I just like, I'll be able to leech some kind of life force off of
Which
them,
is what
even if
witches
I haven't
do.
been able to figure out how to leech the life force off yet.
It's like with Sinners, how Sinners like yada yada's a lot of vampire stuff, so it can get to something more interesting. It's a little bit of a similar thing here, where it's like, okay, witches are old and they feed off the young. Like it's not something the movie feels the need to explain to you because you just get it. Now, bear with me here because we have to talk about the deeper layers that Cregger might have on his mind with this.
I'm willing to say definitively that it's on his mind. It might not be the first thing on his mind.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how deep you want to go,
I mean,
right?
yeah,
like the top layer is witch. It's just a witch, and she wants to not die from ailments and cancer, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If you go down a layer, school shooting.
Yeah, I mean, personally, it was like extremely easy for me to get there. I understand that there are layers of removal. And so it truly is not the point of the movie. I don't think that is the aim of this movie, is to make a statement about that. It's not even really.
I think it might be one of the aims.
Because it's not as
the final line. The final line is the narrator says
that's when
some of the kids started talking again after a year or
exactly whatever. That's I think kind of mastery to me, because it kind of upset a couple people in our theater who because the movie gives you that like explosive ending that you want, the perfect ending.
Frogs raining.
I want to put that. I want to put down the sign. I want to come back to that.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, by the way, these kids are fucked for life, and that's where it all sort of crystallizes. Generally speaking, if there is, a quiet kid who's getting bullied at school and everyone in his class disappears except for him, there's only
going to shoot them up.
Well, there's only one thing that comes to mind. And then when Josh Brolin has a dream and sees an assault rifle above the house where that kid lives, it's relatively straightforward if you're used to that type of thing. If you're not used to things being visually shown to you and not explained, then I could see you not getting that.
It's supposed to be an AR-15, like the gun that.
Yeah, it's literally an
AR-15.
AR-15. It is straight up
cool.
I want to say, if Ari Aster calling Eddington not political is like a 9 out of 10 on the bullshit scale, this is probably only like a 4 or 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, no, it's literally that. And he can just say no, it was just a really cool image that just popped in my head, and I just want to
means absolutely nothing.
Don't read into it at all.
Yeah, but that
that's he's doing the David Lynch thing of actually don't pay attention to what the red curtains mean.
It was just for the bullets.
Yeah.
Just pay attention to the bullets. The shape is the same shape as the thorns on the branch.
That's pretty good.
The branch and the thorns and the bullets. There's no children dead.
You like kind of lost it a little bit there. You went like, I don't know if that was like JFK that you were bordering into towards the end there, but that's okay. That's
R.I.P.
It's
My Twin Peaks.
my read there is like yes, initially the school shooting thing, but just violence in general and the people who are supposed to protect us from that violence.
Yeah.
So Josh Brolin's whole character is, I should have protected my boy from this. He's like, fuck, I never said that out loud. Like Josh Brolin, it's such a crazy casting for me because he's like a little bit too action starry for my taste.
He just doesn't.
He is
look
Thanos.
Like he doesn't look like a real guy.
He's not. He's not.
It truly is a little bit of an issue. I agree.
I appreciate that he's given.
Pedro would have killed this role. I would have.
I mean, the problem is then this would just be another Pedro saturation movie
In 2020.
Like, and it would be hard
Yeah.
to just think like you'd be watching the movie like, wow, he's doing well.
Yeah, it's fine. I want to hear what you guys think about some of these individual castings here, and I still think Brolin is amazing.
No, I like him.
And like a little bit of a focus on some of these little moments where when the movie is at its scariest. So my heart rate was at its maximum during this Josh Brolin nightmare scene.
Yeah.
And he's walking back through he leaves the house. He's kind of starting to put these pieces together of what's going on. Still in his nightmare, heart is beating.
At this point, he's already done all the map ruler stuff. That's later.
No. It's
That's
this.
after.
The map happens immediately after this.
Yeah, he gets inspired by his nightmare. So you get a big scare. You get the jump
You get the,
scare.
what the fuck?
Yeah, but then he wakes up and he goes, "What the fuck?" He gives like incredible line delivery, and the movie becomes so funny. Like, it's crazy how a joke can hit that much better when you were scared, like 2 seconds before that.
It's the magic of horror right there. That's
Now,
why I get at horror.
now, at what point did you guys suspect that something supernatural was behind the disappearance of the kids?
For me, it's the second she looks in that window and sees the parents just sitting still there.
Yeah. That's,
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty clear.
yeah. At that point, I don't know what.
Yeah,
else
because
to
that
think.
scene is followed by her being possessed, coming to cut the hair.
Oh
with
my
the
god, that's like that's a wabammy for like
it
best
is-
horror
it
scene.
is
of
so
the
Oh
year.
my
scary,
god!
dude.
Well, especially because it has the because you see the kid coming. You have the creepy music coming. She's coming right towards the window, and then she walks past the window, and you're like, oh, thank God. And then you hear the car door
Great.
open. You're like, and then
Great
you
stuff.
see the scissors coming out, and then just like take a.
That's
look.
what I want to see in the script.
Like
is
that's just
how
like,
that's
oh
written.
my god, that is just expert of like the rise and fall. Like having multiple of those within the same shot is unreal. That is next level.
So
writing and
at
directing.
that point in the movie, I'm definitely thinking supernatural, but I'm not thinking Gladys.
No.
I'm thinking Alex.
Exactly. That's I think.
I'm thinking little boy is
Well, and
fucked.
if we were making a direct, easy to read school shooting metaphor movie, yeah, it would be Alex.
Yeah,
it would
little
be
demon boy.
Yeah, he'd just be a demon kid who's pissed off at his bullies.
Yeah.
And so he does witchcraft, instead
Right.
of a gun or whatever.
Which is
Like,
again
they add the they add more to
surprised
that.
me. Like you're thinking of the obvious thing because right away from the beginning of the movie, you're thinking, okay, they hid the fact that one kid lived from the marketing. This fucking kid is gonna be the guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, the one thing I know it's a stupid thing to bump on because this is true of any movie. The cops are doing so bad here.
Oh, yeah.
This kid lives. They do it one household visit.
Well, I think
There's
that's part of the
newspaper on the
point.
front.
And then they're just
what
like,
you brought up of,
look,
of
he's
we
really
failed,
struggling.
We failed our next generation. Like that again, to the point of how deep do you want to go with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the other layer with Gladys is she represents not just Donald Trump, but every 80-year-old politician and leader of this country that clings on to power and is incapable of making decisions that are going to help children live and survive. Whatever, it doesn't even have to be school shootings. Pick anything. Climate change, immigration raids, like literally anything that is not helping children, that is not creating a safe environment for children. It is the representation of boomers and the geriatric feeding off the young and clinging onto life in the expense of kids.
That's true. And again, if you watch this movie and you're having a hard time getting there with this read, I genuinely would encourage you to give it some thought because you're right. Like,
But
that's 100% there.
And it's not a coincidence that she's wearing orange fucking makeup on her face and she's dressed in red, white, and blue. Like these are all things he has to be
Yeah.
consciously thinking about. He has to be. It cannot be a coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just generally the idea, like the bridge is what you're saying. There's just the general idea of like the protecting, entities failing.
It's our country.
Yeah,
it's America.
yeah,
it's America as a
exactly.
whole.
It pretty directly gets to, that is just, those are the olds, like, capitalizing, sucking the earth dry.
Yeah.
Cutting Social Security while they can still have it. Yeah.
It's all there. That's what I'm saying. If you want to go there, it's there. The movie doesn't demand it.
No, exactly.
But it is there.
It super doesn't, and I think people want, like, there's a certain sect of people who want it to. There's a certain sect of people who don't want it to, and that's the beauty of the movie to me, is that you can recommend this to both sides.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's no scene that makes that puts it in your face
No.
and tells you like, hey, in order for you to like this movie, you have to go.
exactly. And I really respect that. I mean, generally, people who write like Cregger does, where they like use like a sort of a meditation sort of tactic, don't like over explaining their process. And so not just like the political slant, I'm not shocked that he doesn't want to get too deep into,
Especially when you're doing just interviews to sell the movie. Like, you're not going to want to say anything about
yeah, exactly. But
maybe later, maybe like a year from now.
but it's another reason that I'm interested to see what he's going to do moving forward. Obviously, when he does Resident Evil, that's going to be pinned to, that takes away a lot of his ability to use the process that made this, and so I'm sort of doubtful of it.
I don't know.
His
He
interview,
apparently he wrote the script that then went to Resident Evil, at least a version of it, like years
No,
ago. And
exactly.
he was like, I was gonna make this movie whether I got the Resident Evil IP or not, which gives
Yeah.
me a lot of hope.
his
for what
his
it's going to
interview
be.
on The Big Picture is very funny because Sean Fennessy is almost just a little bit grilling him on like, why would you do this? Like, because he's just a big fan. He's
you
like,
failed us for going
he's
to
like,
Resident
so
Evil.
yeah, IP is like a lot of directors are doing that. So what made you want to do that? And like Cregger's like, listen, man, I know.
Yeah, have you seen
But-
the interview with Ari Aster where he's like, I was asked to do a Marvel picture. It was like
Yeah.
War Boys or something
War
like
Boys?
that. Yeah.
It's just he knows, obviously that his process is going to be a little bit neutered. But I have faith it's going to be good. I want to see the movie after it. I don't want to see. And also, there are talks about like a prequel to this movie. I don't want
No,
that.
I think that's a bad
Gladys
idea.
prequel? No.
that's-
I
if
think
this,
it's a
if
bad
this
idea.
movie keeps raking in money,
It's making so much money, and it's
They're
in the
gonna
middle
do
of a bit of a hot
Here's the
streak
thing.
for Warner Brothers.
I don't want Cregger to do this. I'll say that much. Like I would rather Cregger
Yeah.
do more interesting
pass
idea
it on to
things.
someone.
yeah, he could end up doing like a monkey paw type thing where he just creates like a cohort of
Yeah.
like-minded directors.
I want to go to your point about the political ideals of this movie, and then also possibly to one of your like nitpicks that you have about this movie, because I think that there is a choice that is made that specifically it might add a little bit to some of the pacing issues that you were having with the beginning of Alex, but I think also they are important for making this a movie that is more about the plot and the mystery than it is about the ideas. And I think that is the fact that we don't actually meet Gladys until over halfway into the movie.
It's during the market segment.
So other than some jump scares, we do not get there until that one sequence, which is the 5th chapter of the movie.
You talking about the principal sequence?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
awesome.
like we don't actually get to meet who this character is. She does not have any lines until we are like at that far deep into the movie. I think that they could have introduced her sooner. And I think that especially like going to the whole idea of like, if we want to really hammer home the point of like the elderly, kind of the burden, for lack of a better term, that you can put on the youth or those of us that are still like spry and young. If you wanted
That's
to
a
hammer
stretch,
that
but
idea
okay.
home, like I'm
We're
saying,
doing our
if-
best.
If you wanted to hammer that idea home,
How's your
right
finger
now?
doing, by the way? You just had surgery.
Yeah, and listen. And what if I told the audience that it was actually a geriatric man came and just like ripped that
Snapped
thing
it.
first?
Hey,
Yeah.
as long as it's not a rogue needle, I think you're good.
Let me tell you, Medicaid did not cover this, unfortunately. No, so I think that was maybe a possibility that Cregger might have mulled around of like, do I introduce her sooner? Do I show the shark from Jaws like earlier in the movie to like maybe lay the foundation, because you take some of the introduction part out, then you don't have to have that time carved out for Alex in the final act.
She just takes over.
My point is that like I preferred the mystery element of it, of not knowing who she was until that late into the movie, because the whole time we're thinking like there's something wrong with this fucking kid, like we need to talk about Kevin kind of style of like what's going on, like this kid definitely did something.
On that note, something I wanted to ask you, because you saw it twice during the first 5 minutes of the movie, during the commentary portion. We see a moment where Alex is on a couch being interviewed.
She's
by
sitting
the
there
police.
with her.
Is she sitting there?
Yeah, she's sitting there. Yeah. So it's the same sequence that you see in the final act, but it's just
When
out
the
of
dad is
focus
catatonic.
where you see the red wig and then you see the dad's head. You never see the mom interacting with the public at all. It's always the dad is there, and then she says the whole thing of just like, oh no, he had a stroke a while back, so I'll like answer for him.
Like,
Which again, going to your points about the cops being terrible in this movie,
my
like
God,
what the
guys.
fuck? And Justine actually has a comment on that, which that comment kind of played better the second time seeing it, and think about how dopey and bad the cops are. Where she's just like, I hope that nobody else, like everybody else down at the department, isn't just like, yeah, my job's whatever about being a cop.
Hey, Toby Huss.
Let's go. Let's go.
Brett can attest. I went, fuck yeah, Toby Huss when he came on the screen.
My girlfriend was like, what could you possibly be happy about?
I was like, it's Toby Huss.
I've got peanut butter on my penis. His famous quote from Halloween 2018. We all remember it, right?
Yeah.
I love Toby Huss, man. He's dialed in this. He's like a different layer of, usually when he's being funny, he's being like King of the Hill funny.
The best moment he has is a wordless scene where he just stares glaringly at him after the cheating.
After the
reveal.
cheating.
Oh, that's great.
Man, I don't want to get too sidetracked with it, but we brushed past it, talking about seeing this movie and working better in some ways on a second rewatch. The whole Alden Ehrenreich sequence really like rose up in estimation after seeing it a second time,
dude.
because then you rewatch the whole first scene knowing that he's a piece of shit and his wife is gone for 3 days.
Yeah.
He's gone for 3 days and he's like, damn, I can't wait to drink and cheat on my wife. Like 72 hours and he just can't fucking keep it in his pants.
The scene when he's on the phone with her.
Yeah, he's like, love you. Like he's such a dopey guy. And I also, in between my first viewing and my second viewing, I watched Magnolia because I'm doing a PTA watch through. It's so funny hearing that like this was the most character ripped that he took from Magnolia, where he's like, I want to
Riley losing the gun.
I want to do a play on John C. Reilly, but the thing in John C. Reilly in that movie is everybody in Magnolia also kind of sucks, but Magnolia is a movie that's about like love versus lust at the end of the day. Like that is one of the core tenets of that movie. And in this movie, like there is a lot of love versus lust in this movie, specifically with those first couple characters that we see. But if anything, John C. Reilly, like him and William H. Macy are the only like good guys in the entire movie. Every other man in Magnolia is fucking awful. And so the fact that he's like, I'm going to make a dopey cop. He's going to have the same exact mustache as John C. Reilly, but he's going to suck. You are not going to like this guy by the time you're done with
Frank
him.
T.J. Mackey's not a good guy.
It's crazy.
You know,
Respect the cock, tame the cunt.
tame the guns.
We get, it's almost Home Alone levels of ridiculous when he gets stabbed a second time with
the
heroin
face.
needles.
Dude.
And then finally, I love the moment of like of course it's really funny. Like, do you have AIDS? But like, and he says no, and you can feel like him
No, he
kind
says,
of relax. a
I don't
little
think
bit.
so.
Yeah.
He doesn't say no. He says, I don't think so.
Like I do really want to talk about like the funny moments of this movie. I really want to acknowledge my favorite funny bit from this movie, which is Justin Long. Watching the Ring camera footage of his son running away or his daughter running away, and he says this is actually kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Your daughter's fucking gone. Been gone.
He's so good. Listen, watch Barbarian.
Okay.
He is like the second lead of that movie.
Justin Long's wife, who initially answers the door, is Zach Cregger's wife in real life.
Yeah.
Sarah Paxton, you may know her as Aquamarine the Mermaid, or if you're like me, you might know her as Darcy from Darcy's Wildlife on Discovery Kids Network.
Hey, I was gonna ask you about Whitmer Thomas.
Whitmer Thomas, great comedian.
How'd you feel about him in this?
Oh, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
He's like catatonic most of the time.
Yeah.
Who is he? Was he the
he's
dad?
the dad.
Alex's dad.
Yeah.
He
He
is
was
a
great.
He's
your boy.
I mean, it's wild that he's reached an age where he
plays a
incredibly
dad.
plays like a 30-something dad. But yeah, I mean,
Hey, buddy, do you
he's a guy who
you
didn't
flirt with any supermodels?
He is an interesting guy because he didn't have such a definitive lane in Hollywood. When he was like an electric stand-up, he has almost too much Jim Carrey to his face, especially when he's doing stand-up. It's so elastic that like it almost is distracting, and it almost hurt his career that he looks so much like him. But he's a good actor. He has, like, if you watched his special, he had one of those specials that everyone was dropping like 6 or 7 years ago, where it's like they're acting like it's like their legacy special, when it's like, hey, most people don't know you. You can't do like the hometown visit thing. Yeah. It kind of, it's great people who I love, but like Jenny Slate did that too. Hers was better, I think, but it was, to me, it's a little bit self-flagellating. But yeah, happy to see him. Great guy. It's A+ casting all around. Cast by
this is a comedy guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Role, yeah.
Well, and that's that's a Cregger thing, is like he's pretty adamant that he's not writing it to be super funny. He obviously knows when it is funny, but like he's just casting a lot of people who are funny.
I want to give props to the kid who plays Alex. His name is Kerry Christopher. He actually sent out a really cool little tweet where he thanked people for enjoying his performance. This kid is very, very young, and I'm worried about him because
he's like playing it a little bit too well.
Well, no, not necessarily that. I just wonder, like, there are shots where you don't need him to be there, right? Like his character is there, but you don't need him there, and I wonder for how much of that he was there for.
You're
because
so right.
Like
it adds
this kid
to
is
it.
really
It really adds
young.
to it. So there's
some traumatizing shit.
There's some cool visuals here where the actual weapons of this movie are like really innocent things, like tree branches and food utensils, like a vegetable peeler, forks and spoons that he's feeding
stabbing
people.
yourself
So
with
he's
a fork.
He's right. I think that scene hits a lot harder because he's there.
Dude, he's 9.
Mm-hmm. It's
he was like 8 when he shot this.
I mean, it's one piece of the movie that's going to age well, is like none of that is really depending on CG in significant ways, but that is like the fork scene, for example, that would be a really easy thing to shoot, where there's
one shot
not going hard at each other,
where he grab it and like, doesn't he stop him?
He tries.
Oh yeah, no, he's there and he's interacting with it, but I'm just saying, like, they didn't even need to have like blood on set that day.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It is like, it's not like they're gushing blood. Like, it almost makes like black pits as they're stabbing into themselves. But it's not,
they're not bleeding.
It's not about like the gore. This movie doesn't actually get gory until the very end, which is what makes it like such a like carnal, like fuck yes moment.
Let's just talk about it. But before though, you know what Kerry Christopher was in though?
What?
Mank.
Let's go. Mank heads rise up, and
is he Mank?
You do have to add a half star to Mank.
Her voice is more high pitched when you saw it.
Mank. About like 1.25.
Actually, you missed him. That's it gets skipped over.
Also, speaking of the funniest lines in the movie, and like a scene that 2 different times, like, it didn't, I wouldn't say that it was the loudest laugh of the theater, but it might have gotten the hardest laugh by the select few in the theater, is when James is going through the house and he goes, "Oh fuck, Willow." 2 times, there's like 7 dudes in the theater like, and I was like one of the guys both times. It was just fucking.
I fucking love James, dude.
So,
yeah.
Willow.
Also, James just coming back over and over at Brolin. Is really funny.
Him on the phone trying to get the reward.
I mean, so this is a role that, like, in most hands is like not
cinema.
Good. Like, it doesn't pan out well because that's such a cartoon character. He's just so good. So many shots are just holding on him during his sequence in a way that it doesn't do with the other sequence. Like any reverse shot scene, we just need to watch him.
He has
so magnetic
crackhead energy.
Like, it is so many line deliveries get laughs when like the line is pretty funny but not that funny. But when he's talking about like hospitals or something, he's like, "I'm phobic."
This movie is
he's talking about police stations.
Yeah.
This movie is doing that horror movie thing where it's taking the non-horror elements of the movie and shooting it like a horror movie, so it's tense. Like when he's opening the doors of the cars, right? It's shot from his waist right behind him, and it's like a little bit spooky, but it really works.
Yeah, so, it coalesces. And I think another piece I really would recommend to everyone who hasn't to go back and watch Barbarian, because it, like I said, it feels so much like the seeds of this movie. And if you're sort of having a hard time like accessing the like sort of deeper reads or like the layered, or if you don't think that there's much political stuff going on here, remember Barbarian? Like
a lot of gentrification.
But it's in the same way as this movie. It's not like it all ties up extremely neatly and it's like presented to you in a box.
No, it's just there for you to access.
And there are times when that's executed perfectly. For example, a movie I would compare extremely, like maybe more than any other to this, is Get Out. Just in terms of like
suburban panic.
Just the feel of the movie, of it having like nonstop elements of surprise if you truly don't know where it's about to go, and having pace and comedy in ways that you don't expect, while still depending on really core tenets of horror, especially toward the end. But that movie presents to you, the theme is inextricable from the plot of that movie, and it's on purpose. This is not like that.
Another thing we didn't mention is that Jordan Peele lost the bidding war to produce this.
Monkey Paw wanted to make this movie.
The
Apparently
script of this movie was worth so much money, and
he fired his team.
Yeah, he fired like everyone involved with not getting this because he saw it, like he sees it.
Yeah. So the end.
We got to talk about the end.
No, so
let's set it up a little bit. So everything is converging on this house. All the pieces have been set that this is a weird house.
At this
Something's
point,
going on here.
James and the cop Alden Ehrenreich have like disappeared into the house.
So at this last moment, what I want to bring up is my favorite cinema moment from last year was Monstro Elasasu flashing on the screen during the Substance. So it's this moment, and I brought this up earlier, where as a viewer, you're saying, wow, I'm so excited. I'm about to get some information that I want so bad. So this happens at the very end, right? We get flashed up Alex, and this is the most satisfying one because we're like, wait a minute. We're actually going to not only find out what's going on right now, but we're going to go back a month to why these kids actually disappeared.
Also, each title card comes at a very specific time in the previous story, right? It's like, when you get Alex, it's when Julia Gardner and Josh Brolin are talking about Alex, right? So that happens each time. It's like you get this storyline that comes to a natural point to bring up the next storyline, right?
Exactly.
It's very satisfying. But you at that point, you know the house is, you know the kids are there, right? Because you've already seen James, right? Because you get James, then Marcus, which, by the way, Marcus is also a standout.
Yeah, we skip past
him Naruto running.
Benedict Wong is awesome in this movie.
Hot dogs.
The tray of 7 hot dogs, potato chips, and carrots.
It's a callback to a Whitest Kids.
Yeah,
sketch.
it's a Whitest Kids You Know callback.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's so good. Absolutely incredible.
R.I.P. his man.
Trevor.
I saw you in some hair loss ads on TikTok.
What?
I don't know if you guys have gotten
Trevor
those.
Moore?
No, the gay husband that dies horribly in this film.
Yeah.
He's
Shut up.
trying to sell some.
They did choose the wrong type of Fruity Pebbles whenever they were in the store, but maybe that was why he had to die. Like, we can't know for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Sorry to interject again, but Marcus's story kicks off in the supermarket, and Marcus is on the phone, and it picks up the phone call. And
the second half of
the
the phone
other
call
side.
here.
Yeah, it takes, like, you get a little bit more information of what was happening on that phone call, and you're like, why aren't we visiting this house? Right? And Marcus is really played out to be a good guy that does check on him.
I love Wong.
I also there is a little bit between that sequence and the sequence whenever Gladys actually comes to his house. At the end of the day, he's just like a civil servant. He's like, man, I work 9 to 5. I'm off duty right now.
I want to eat some hot dogs.
Like, don't bother me. Like,
That's problematic.
He's like, he's either like, it's the nighttime, I'm not working right now, I'm at the supermarket with my husband, or like, yo, it's a Saturday, I'm about to watch like some parasitic shit on the TV and just like eat some hot dogs with my husband. Like, he very much is like, I'm not getting paid enough for this shit. Which is a nice little like character detail that he's like, you know, he's a good principal, but he also
there's boundaries.
He's probably making like $70K a year, so he's like, this shit isn't worth it that much. Like, I don't need this much.
So everything's converging on this house. We already know the kids are in the basement because of the James chapter, and all the shit starts going down. Right, like things are flying off the wall. At this point we already know about the ritual with the water and the rose thorns and everything. The moment when the shift happens and we go from she's gonna win, she's gonna be able to turn Brolin on Julia and get the upper hand. James is dead, Alden's dead. Like, all these things are sort of heading in the wrong direction. Potato peel.
Yeah. And even though it's horror, this is when it felt most like the peak of Magnolia, of just like cut.
Well,
Everything's
you
getting worse.
bring up Magnolia.
You're feeling crazy dread.
In Magnolia, we get frogs raining.
Yeah.
In this movie, we get kids running. Like, you can just feel the moment of the script, because Paul Thomas Anderson always talks about how he did a ton of coke and just wrote until frogs rained from the sky.
Yeah, for people who don't know, it's my favorite behind the scenes story of him talking about the editing for Magnolia, where it says it's allegedly him and Quentin Tarantino just railing coke while he's
Fiona
editing
Apple.
it, and Fiona Apple is just like singing, like improvising behind them and like dancing around behind them as they're doing this, railing coke until like 4 a.m. while feverishly editing Magnolia. That's why Magnolia is great.
So in Magnolia, we have frogs rain from the sky. In Weapons, we have kids sprinting out of the basement and chasing the witch down the street.
One detail that he's mentioned is that initially the plan was just to have them sort of catch her out in the front yard, and like right as they were approaching shooting,
Last minute,
he really went to bat. He was like, "I'm so sorry, guys, because this is going to be a giant pain. I'm going to need a couple $1 million more, but like I just feel like it needs to be longer. I feel like we need to chase."
Wow.
And thank you.
Great choice. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, having a vision, because like you are inconveniencing a lot of people by being uncompromising, and the willingness to do that like on the fly. It would have been a lot worse if they just catch her immediately. We have set pieces. He's like, yeah, they had to find all these locations and then we had to destroy the locations, but it's worth it.
Build
It's
sets.
amazing.
Yeah.
And you get all the funny moments along the way of the people whose houses are being broken into.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean about
it's like
this.
the end of Ferris Bueller
Right.
almost.
There's
a lot of similarity.
It's the same reason why like the Peels and all of these people that have comedy backgrounds have like fallen themselves into horror, is because comedy and horror are linked so well together, and this whole climactic sequence is the perfect encapsulation of that, where we are getting like all of this is horrific in many ways. Like, we have these kids that are still actively weaponized, they're coming after her, but instead we have like some Looney Tunes ass shit that is going through here, where she just keeps running through doors, like shutting a fence behind them, and then just like 100 children coming by, the guy pushing his lawnmower, and then just seeing like a wave of children chasing an elderly,
The ones who are
woman back.
missing from this town.
Yeah.
Like there's, yeah.
It's so much incredible stuff. And then even like them looking for her after the fact, whenever Josh Brolin is running back through the houses, they're like, oh my God, it's another one.
Now there's a man.
It's so good. And then
they rip her fucking head
climaxes-
apart.
Yeah,
Yes, they
it climaxes
do.
with
It
the
looks
substance thing,
great.
where they just pull her apart. Both times I've seen this movie, it is a moment that like I wouldn't say that I'm like an interactive audience goer. Like, of course, I like laugh and like, I'm engaging with the movie, but I wouldn't say that like I'm like a talker during the movie or anything like that. Both times that I watched this movie, it was like a something inside of me that just came out.
Exultation.
It was like, yes, like it's just, I couldn't hold it in. Like, as they're ripping her limb from limb.
I love the
so well executed.
I really like the visual, but I think there's a slight disappointment on my end when I'm watching a horror movie like this. I don't want the good guys to win. I want the bad guy to win when I'm watching something like
You're expecting the kids to not make it, right? You're kind of thinking
exactly.
like,
I want the witch to survive. I want the witch to get what she wants. And so I'm a little
Sequel.
bit disappointed. But when we get to the very end, like you're talking about the last line, we could break that down a little bit more. I think it really is super melancholic.
Yeah, it elevates the movie so much.
They're
And
just
again,
like,
I heard,
yay, the curse is broken. Time to go back to class.
No,
And
they're
like,
fucked up.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I heard multiple people walking out of the theater really grappling with that, being like, wow, like there was all that buildup and then it ends like that. And it's like, yeah,
that's
it's
the point, brother.
and that's the right way to do it. It's almost the opposite of the way that Breaking Bad ended, which I didn't love, because that show chooses to give you the dour melancholy ending and then give you the explosive ending the next episode. Should have flipped it. This just flips it. It gives you the explosion and then it gives you what actually happens. Like it's
not the end.
It's really smart. Again, it's uncompromising because that's not what any studio would want if you're getting notes. Luckily, it seems like he doesn't get many notes.
Which is shocking to me that a studio led by David Zaslav is hitting the heaters that is hitting this year. You know, that's nuts. But to break down the end, like you were saying, I mean, you get this final line that really, to me, suggests the idea of school shooting survivors, right? That's really what it's pointing to. But then when you try to link that to them chasing the witch and ripping her limb from limb, it's a bit of a stretch, but where I go to is almost like a fantasy in which the dead kids are able to kill their killer.
Yeah. It's
you could read it as like the whole ending like doesn't actually.
I don't know. You really have me thinking about the whole like geriatric Trump of it all, where no matter how much effort these younger generations put into getting rid of the geriatric, once they're all gone, they're not equipped to move forward because all their energy was spent to deal with that energy. You know, I hadn't
like
really
that.
thought about this, but just based on what you're saying, that's a little bit of the vibe I'm getting. Right
Because
now they have nothing
effort
left
required to vanquish.
Yeah, now they're all gone. Now what?
Yeah, everyth's still
Right.
fucked. There's a lot of that. I think there is a lot of just the sort of like wish delivery of we've lost the direct school shooting metaphor because that's not the direct purpose of what he's trying to get at, and so he gives you the fantastical. He gives you the sort of like Tarantino retconning history ending.
What if the kids didn't die? What if they killed the killer? Yeah.
But he doesn't want to let you off scot-free after watching this.
And I think that, again, like if you're going to go more at the base level, and one of the things that does make this work, even for normal audiences, that a lot of the heavier themes are going over their head, just from a base level, it's like, so you're imagining those kids were completely like they were hypnotized. They didn't know what the fuck was happening. They're tearing her limb from limb. And as they are actively like ripping a woman apart, they gain sentience again.
Yeah.
And like, how do you like then like especially
They're
how do
so
you as
fucked.
like a full grown adult grapple with that, much less you're a child and you have like blood on your mouth and you're like, oh my god, like
They're just standing.
It's almost like you just
they-
watched a shooting.
it's and they're frozen. Like it's the fight, flight, freeze. They're just literally frozen, and just like they are in the basement all over again. It's the same imagery of them just being frozen, staring off.
They've almost been spared by having their brains turned off.
And there's a little bit of like survivor's guilt probably in like that moment again for the school shooter.
Well, yeah, and also I mean the supernatural element. Like we don't know exactly what she's been doing, but it is having permanent effects on their brains.
If they aren't able to speak for years, like from a literal
and
perspective.
there's a
for
line,
you to literally.
another line in the outro narration about the kids' parents are like they're getting fed soup by someone else now. Like he doesn't get to go home. Like not his life is ruined. You know what I mean? He doesn't get a happy ending.
Yeah, and that's again thinking about like the logic of this movie. It almost like made me think that the longer that you are kept in this catatonic state, the harder that is to gain back. Like
you're getting drained.
You are having like a certain. The longer that you are left in this state, the more brain damage that you are taking, and like. His parents were there in that state for even longer than the kids were, for at least a few days, if not like a full week. That whole timeline is a little bit more murky, but like however long he was feeding just his parents soup.
Yeah, they're toast. Ernest, how do you feel about the way that this movie treats people with cancer as demonic?
Yeah.
Do they explicitly say it is?
Yes, they quite literally say that she does have cancer and that she's gonna die. And because
Kill that bitch.
He's just
Put her out of her misery.
yeah. You know, a lot of people were telling us the same thing last year, and I said I think that we
End
should
it.
stick with this guy. He has this like spooky tree, and like I think that I like some of the energy that he's got.
I have a couple like stray notes I wanted to touch on before we start to wrap up. I brought up my comparisons to the film Bring Her Back at the beginning of the episode. I want to loop back to that real quick. I don't think any of you guys have seen that film.
No, I have not.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's an A24 movie. It stars the girl from Paddington, from Shape of Water, Sally Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
Who is great in the movie, but the movie is hung up on this idea of what the reason why I brought it up, this like notion of theme as core central plot driver, right? She's lost a child. She's bringing in another child to fill in the gap of this loss. The whole movie is centered around the grief of child loss. And there's a bit where it starts to sprinkle in some cult, witchy, supernatural things, but it never goes there.
Mm-hmm.
It always keeps it like in the background, and you see like these like little hints towards it.
This is the virus of modern horror. I get the trauma argument that too much of this is trauma. I think trauma is far too general to criticize these movies for addressing trauma. That's my opinion.
It's more.
I think it's half-assing dipping the tip of your dick in the occult and magic and not putting it all the way in.
And whenever I say all the movies are about trauma, I think that it's because it's the subtext being the text. That's kind of what it goes back to, like to our pre-spoiler discussion of like all horror movies are about trauma. It's because it doesn't even want to like have you think about the occult, because it wants you to like make sure you don't miss that the real message of this movie is like, what if you actually are a little depressed?
Right. Exactly. No, but seriously, like bring her back is not a bad movie. Like that is a movie that is filled with really great horror moments. There's another amazing like child performance in that film that is worthy of praise. It's a creepy movie. It's a movie that gives you what you want from a horror movie, you know, intense, gory, horrific imagery. But because it never commits to what the story is actually about, it never gives you that feeling of like, okay, what is actually going on here? Like, imagine if Weapons never introduced the Gladys character. Imagine if that was just something you kept seeing in the background, and maybe there was like a weird VHS tape that you found, and another character saw like a blurry image.
If it was
of Gladys.
2008.
Right.
You gotta commit is what we're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it drives me crazy that as recently as just a couple months ago, we had a movie in Bring Her Back that maps so closely in theme and plot and wasn't able to commit. And now here we have one that is.
So one that got a lot more positive reception, and I think is probably better than that movie, that has a ton of comparisons here, is Longlegs, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
Particularly the the scary character wearing a lot of makeup. Like there, it's a lot of like, you know, like the meme central.
Honestly,
But listen,
who would you fuck? Gladys or Longlegs?
Yo, they
Impossible question.
shipped.
They should
I'm just
connect.
saying, like,
That movie, I was lower on it than most people because if we're talking about rules, it drove me absolutely insane. In the beginning of the movie, they introduced the idea that an amount of psychic powers exist in this world. This detective is psychic.
yeah,
No, you're so
They're
right.
like the FBI does psychic. Also, it is Clinton's America.
And she,
we want to make sure you know that.
because it's like so she takes like a very like almost like education, like standardized education psychic like test, and the way it looks, it's so analog. It's like slides. It's so cool. It's so interesting, and then the rest of the movie sort of delves into just like Christian demonic stuff. Like that is completely left behind. And I think it is unforgivable. Like that is such a more interesting path to go down.
And
Again,
you are not going to fool our generation by disrespecting process. And that's what this movie does
We
so
are
well.
Legion.
And where Longlegs fucks up. I agree with you.
It drove me nuts. And then the end of the movie, they're like, okay, in case it wasn't clear enough, here's what actually is.
I do. This does.
I think that the Longlegs things. This movie is a better movie than Longlegs. I think in pretty much every
So
way.
much
But I also think that Longlegs, like the strengths of it, are kind of. It is doing a much more traditional horror thing than what Weapons is interested in. And from a more traditional horror aspect, the things like the Nick Cage performance and the things like the stylization of it, those are like the perks of it. If we are getting into the nitty gritty of like the plot mechanics of it, it's nonsense. Like it kind of, even like taking the psychic stuff and putting aside, it's just like, well, there's like this kind of black ball that you just kind of put in a
like,
doll.
yeah, I'd rather watch that movie with the volume off. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
a great
visually,
looks
it's
fucking
so striking.
incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool, but that's where you get left a lot of the time. And I'm glad that you're glomming onto this idea of the rules needing to matter, because again, like if if you're going to introduce something as big as psychics existing, that introduces a lot of rules that might need to be established. This movie introduces a perfect amount of rules that need to be established, which is like barely any. If for something so supernatural, we don't need to know 99% of it. We just need to know what he gives us.
It's possible that Alex is able to do it because it's his biological aunt and it's in
we
his
never get
bloodline,
confirmation.
but it doesn't matter.
Can I also say that like one of the other choices, and this is, it's less of like the rules, but I guess it's kind of tied into that and also to the direction again. I love that when the members of our story are put into the catatonic state, their version of their catatonic selves is almost like a little bit in line with their non-catatonic version. Like specifically thinking of the James, when he just has to continually get punched in the face, and it's played for laughs because it's very funny of like Josh Brolin just has to keep knocking him out and he just comes back up and it's like but it's like that is what that character would be. Like,
you're basically like Adam Sandler in Click when he's like fast forwarding and he just becomes an NPC for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Cregger mentioned that.
I think it's cool.
By the way, you guys just reminded me that
Click was one of his references.
I keep meaning to set up a new Discord emoji of long legs.
Which face?
Oh, you know,
you're going with.
Come on,
Cuckoo.
No, this face.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's a good one. That's very good.
The other note that I had ties into the Yo-Yo video, the George Harrison song.
Yeah.
Sure.
At the beginning.
Watch out now.
Underrated
Beware of
solo career, George
Incredible.
Harrison.
Yeah.
He got sort of swallowed by the 80s like many of them did, but he was great.
Well, it's because he makes a sound that is kind of before, like it would have been better in the 70s, but he was making that music in the 80s, so it was kind of what allowed the pop culture had moved past it. But now, in hindsight, that all of it being old, it's aged.
Again, by the way, this is something Cregger mentions. That song costs a ton of money.
Yeah.
To
It's
get
worth
the rights
it.
to.
Worth it.
He just had the idea and he was like, I just can't use any other song. I'm sorry.
Have you seen? There's a Spotify playlist of like the music that he was listening to while writing the script.
No,
It's
that's
cool.
cool.
It's a lot of stuff from like old shit from like 50s, 60s, and everything like that. But it's a cool thing to check out.
The movie is better for starting on that note because it gives you that feeling of this is not just a horror movie. This is not a Long Legs. This is not a Bring Her Back. This is something different, right? So by the time we get to James and Paul and Marcus and just the wacky energy of the middle chunk of this movie, you're primed for it because of a simple choice of the image of these kids doing the run alongside this song is so unlike whatever you had in your mind going in.
By the way, that was my only connection to the triangle.
Yeah.
Like that was my thinking was they're holding their hands like in a triangle shape.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest,
Owen weapons.
I didn't track that at all until you said it afterwards, and I was like, oh yeah, they're holding their arms like a little triangle.
By the way,
I thought
not
that he just,
not Naruto. Naruto is behind.
yeah.
Everyone's saying Naruto. It's not Naruto.
Yeah,
It's
Naruto's
to
behind and
the
like
side.
leaning forward.
Yeah, it's to the side, back straight.
Please drop some comments about what you think about this. I really need to know.
It's a
need-
little anime run-ish, but you know.
Yeah, but it's not Naruto.
It's not Naruto run. Yeah, that's fair.
Naruto is head forward, arms all the way back. That's not what these kids are doing. That's not what they're doing.
Yeah. I will say some notes on the direction for some of those kids. Could have kept those arms a little bit straighter.
Those
opening
elbows
sequence.
out. Keep those elbows out.
I was going to say, there's some where like you see them kind of do some of this and it's like, nope. Come on, Sally. Keep those arms straight. Keep those arms straight.
Here's a question. We're recording this like literally right after the movie came out. But if you're listening to this like maybe a year after the movie came out or anywhere in the future, I feel like that is an iconic image.
I think that's
right?
going to be the imagery that comes out of this movie.
Right? Like, can you think of another horror movie in the past, I don't know, 5, maybe if you want to go like 6, 7 years that has anything close to this as just another iconic
I would
image?
say The Scissors and Us. I mentioned.
I
earlier.
think
I think
more iconic.
I think holding the hand and talk to me is really good.
Yeah,
That's
the hand
good.
and talk to me.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I think that there are, but to the point that we've been making, usually it's just like it's a prop. It's a thing. It's a mask that somebody wears. Because I actually think there's a few
Not a
different things you
pose.
can point to. I think the smile and smile is honestly one that's
Sure.
pretty
Yeah.
iconic.
Never
like
seen
that
it.
is. I've seen Smile too. It's
Without seeing the first one?
without saying the first. You're fine. I like. It's usually a image, but there isn't really much more to it a lot of times than just the iconography, and that is it. And this movie has like so much more to it than just a prop.
All right. Any other thoughts on weapons? Is there anything we haven't brought up? Any other stray notes you guys had?
I just want to re-emphasize the fact that for all that we're talking about regarding themes and genre and like what boxes this fits into, when you're watching this movie, the main things that you're taking in are plot and mystery. There's just so much plot that you're eating up while watching
and
it.
you want it.
Yes, it's just like it's
You're like,
true
"Gimme,
entertainment.
gimme, gimme."
It gives you the Agatha Christie fucking Knives Out situation, the classic mystery structure. But that's again, like this isn't. He knows that when he's talking about like his movies, he needs to like sell them as other types of movie, and it's like best for production companies to give people a genre. But I think he's operating totally outside that. He's just taking from everything he likes here and like putting it all together.
I totally agree with that. My message to the listeners here is if you are horror averse, don't shy away from stuff like this. I think in a lot of ways, you're going to continue to get burned by the Annabelles of the world where you're getting jump scares. But go see a movie like this. There's not a lot of jump scares. This is a unique case where you get to have everything. You get to have the love, you get to have the drama, you get the comedy, you get the tenseness.
Yeah, and you're peaked the entire time. That's why I compare it to Get Out a lot, because you're trying to figure things out and you're laughing a lot. The aim of the movie is not to make you feel dread the entire movie, even though it does when it needs to. Like a lot of what even I associate with like true going to a horror movie is just like not feeling good the whole time. And this movie, it makes you feel like you're watching an entertaining movie.
Yeah, and
more than anything else.
It's
I
a
think
victory.
the general entertainingness. I think that this movie never forgets to be entertaining, even over any genre, including mystery. Because I think like. To my point about one of the reasons why I wanted to see this movie a second time, a lot of mysteries are incredible on a first viewing, and then you're like, well, I know where this is going, so it doesn't work as well. This is a movie that it doesn't necessitate the mystery. Like, there's enough in it. If it necessitated the mystery, then I would find myself frustrated by something like James, where it's like, well, where the fuck are we going with this? Why are we with this guy now? But like, this movie is more focused on making an entertaining and engaging product than it is in only being a mystery box. That was a little bit my problem with not the first Knives Out, but Knives Out 2, which is solely about the mystery box and is just about putting the puzzle pieces together. And if you kind of take out that mystery element, then it's like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just looking at a collection of scenes.
I was going to bring up Glass Onion. That is a movie that I will never watch a second time because I know there's not much else there.
Yeah.
I had something else. I just haven't said enough,
Weapons.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
Zach Cregger, thank you for this one.
We're Pregger.
Cregger
I'm
for
Cregger for Cregger.
I think we can wrap it up there. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know your thoughts on Weapons, the film, not the item, not the purveyor of violence.
Leave a comment for your favorite weapon in the comments. Is it a knife? Is it if
Your
it's a
own
body,
body
specify
running-
pocket, steak?
A child.
Yeah.
With your eyes bugging out.
Yeah.
Did Benedict Wong do that? Is that makeup?
How does
Can he just
his
do
eyes are
that?
going?
I think it might be prosthetics.
Hey, I think that's the only one that's because a lot of the other ones, it's just like they just put like something in their eyes to just
It'd be cool
make
if
them
he
look
just was like,
red.
"Hey Zach, I can make my eyes go crazy."
It's one of those, yeah.
That's great.
Check out WeBoutMike.net to get every episode in your inbox. Join the Discord. Thank you to all the beautiful donors that support this podcast. Thank you, Brett, executive producer, purveyor of the podcast. You're basically the David Zaslav to our Zach Cregger. Thank you.
Yeah.
Join the Discord.
Check me out on social media, on their social media. I'm the guy that's yo-yoing. So if you
Yep.
have any feedback there, if you want to see any yo-yo tricks.
The timing of you hitting the pose when the guitar hits on the George Harrison song.
A lot of people are talking about this.
That's when my fiance was off screen cracking
Cinema.
a branch.
Cinema. Patreon.com/WeBoughtAMic, $5 a month. Stick around for the announcement of our next career arc series. It's a bracket you decide, you get to vote on. There will be an episode devoted to unveiling the bracket. And as soon as that episode goes up, you will be able to start voting on the bracket. 16 options, tournament style, whittled down to one choice. The last time we did this, it was Robin Williams. Who will you choose next? WeBoughtAMic.com/vote is where you will find this. So stay tuned. In the meantime, we have Drew's pick for winning the Fantasy Film League last year. It is American Movie.
The pick is in.
You selected.
I'm
So
really
we'll have
excited.
that episode for you.
Haven't seen it.
Great movie. I cannot wait to talk about that movie. It's a phenomenal movie.
What else? One Battle After Another, new PTA
Let's go.
coming.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun. And Him. Anyone keeping an eye on Him?
what
Do
if-
we like those trailers?
what
Does
if
does it look
football-
like shit?
It's the one it played
the
during I
football
think the
one.
football one of like it's the
That's
you
cool.
know Marlon Wayans.
I mean, if
is
Keel was
dramatic.
directing it, it would be incredible. There's all the ingredients. It just
Nobody
I feel like
knows about
odds are
this
it's like a
guy.
6 or a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Who knows?
Cool
Like,
ideas. Cool ideas.
It has a cool idea. I'm interested in seeing dramatic Marlon Wayans. It's a TBD.
Fall's looking a little
It's,
fakey.
I will say, I think that so much we will know in the next couple weeks
After the
as these
festivals.
festivals get going underway.
Yeah.
Because I think right now so much of it is like kind of a mystery box. But we'll see.
Springsteen? Do we give a fuck about the
What
bear
if-
as Springsteen?
Guys-
What if the bear was Bruce Springsteen?
What if Baby We Were Born to Run?
Begonia? Hey,
Bugonia.
Jesse
Yeah.
Plemons.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here for that.
Yorgos?
We're in
You
here.
know, I'll just mention real quick. I rewatched Killing of a Sacred Deer. First time watching since theaters. Not a huge fan.
Oh.
I think
It
he's
is a-
leveled up considerably
It is
after
a
Killing of a
very
Sacred Deer.
weird,
It's the mumble of it all.
weirdly directed.
Yeah,
movie.
it's a limiting
think-
form of writing.
I think the favorite.
There's only so much you can do.
The favorite and Poor Things are like so much better.
He didn't write them.
He leveled up.
He let someone. He let a very good writer write them. You know.
Yeah, can't win them all.
Brett, thank you. Any final thoughts, words of wisdom, yo-yo plugs, anything
Favorite.
you want to let the people know?
No.
Magic the Gathering? Any good
Hey,
Magic the Gathering
last
things?
so-
Airbender.
It's so hard to plug because it's just IPs now. I think it's a really bad take if you're like really anti-IP in Magic the Gathering. I will say that. Let it happen. You don't have to be involved necessarily. Just play the game, appreciate the game.
So are people hating the Final Fantasy stuff? Is that what
there's people hating everything. There's
Yeah.
people that hate anything that's other IPs coming in. They're hating the fact that there's so many sets. At a certain point, business is business, and you need to learn how to adapt. This is just how it goes. So just enjoy it.
we were talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender releasing some